Hello, my beautiful children, and thank you so much for joining me again on Miss Vega Says What. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and share my video and my channel. I am so grateful for all of you that have shown me love and have liked and shared my channel. With that, I do want to start with an appreciation and a shout out. Okay, so my friend Tracy is a teacher, right? Like teachers, we kind of hang out with each other. And yesterday she sent me a picture of her class watching my video. She had displayed it on the screen, right? Like if you're a teacher, you know what I'm talking about, that you put YouTube videos for your kids to see. And so she sent me a picture of her students watching it, and I was just so overjoyed. It really gave me a lot of motivation to do this video today. And so I want to say hi and thank you so much, Mrs. Patterson's class in Mahomet, Illinois. And I do also want to say that knowing that you guys are watching me, it really helps me because in my imagination, I can feel you guys here. I don't even know y'all, but it helps me. And in my videos, I'll probably talk about imagination a lot. So I use my imagination in this way by imagining you guys supporting me, and I do feel it, and I return the love back to you, Mrs. Patterson, and all her kids. So thank you so much. Okay, well, let's get into it. If you hear some background noise, it's because I have a naughty dog. So today's video is about masks. And I know I opened with a gratitude practice, and I want to open the topic of masks with also expressing gratitude, right? And I just simply want to say that whatever side of the debate you stood on, excuse me, with masks, like if you did or didn't want to wear them, at the end of the day, they kept us safe, right? They kept us alive and healthy. You're alive and healthy to watch this video. And maybe if you don't believe that, the worst of it is over and you survived that too. So we'll get that out of the way. But again, I do want to express gratitude. Okay, so the reason this video is about masks is because I did not see this coming, and I sense that nobody saw it coming because it hasn't really been addressed. And that is that we as a society, right, or like on the news and stuff, if you keep up, they told you when you could take your mask off, right? Like the time and place where you could take your mask off. But nobody anticipated how maybe kids would not know how to take it off. Like it's become a little bit of a security blanket for kids. And if I didn't work with children myself, I probably wouldn't have even thought that that would be like an issue, right? So since I do work with kids and I work with tweens, I love tweens. Hey tweens. I noticed that it did become a security blanket, and some of you guys might still be wearing it when you need not have to wear it. So I want to talk about first that I know this is like a tender subject and maybe a controversial subject, you know, the issue of masks, but I'm not saying to you don't wear a mask or do wear a mask, okay? I'm saying that I have observed that children are having a difficult time taking off the mask that they're now using a little bit as a security blanket. And it is a tender subject, right? So I recognize that the adults in your life might not know how to approach it, or might not want to approach it, or might just think, oh, it's a phase, it'll go away on its own. And it's true, it is a phase, it can go away on its own, but I also recognize from working with children that it's a little bit heavy on y'all's hearts. So I'll address it, right? So what I think this is going to be is like a little bit of tough love, okay? So my video, so what I'm gonna say, I hope it doesn't sound like mean or harsh, but sometimes whenever I ask my students, like, do I sound mean or harsh? They tell me, Miss Vega, your mean is most people's normal. So I'm gonna give you some hard truths, and you can take it from me. I'm a gentle person, And honestly, the thing is, nobody's gonna know that I'm talking about you. You're the only person that's gonna know, oh my gosh, this is applicable to me, okay? So don't worry that people are gonna think, oh, she's talking about so-and-so, because I'm not. Only you know. Okay, so for masks, right, they do cover like our nose and down to our chin and predominantly our mouth, right? That's their intention, is to cover our mouth. So I've noticed with kids that even if you don't need to wear a mask, or maybe the grown-ups in your life no longer wear masks, some of y'all are still wearing masks, and I sense that it's because you want to cover something. I suspect it could be teeth more often than not, but really, naughty dog, but really it could be anything. Like maybe you think like your lips are this way and they should be that way, or your skin is whatever, or your nose, like the tip of your nose. I really don't know. And honestly, nobody knows but you. I suspect teeth and smiles are a lot to do with it, but because I have worked with teen girls and tween girls, I also know that you guys literally feel like you're gonna die over upper lip hair, which nobody can even see, okay? So anyway, yeah, masks. Some of you guys are still wearing them when the general population is really not wearing them anymore. And the thing is, you think you're hiding something, but you're actually drawing more attention to yourself. Okay, so like you're doing a trade-off. Like if you're wanting to hide your teeth, or if the girls or whoever wants to hide their little baby mustache, you're actually drawing attention to yourself, just not that specific thing. So it's really just a trade-off, right? And some of you, again, I work with children, I see children, like a lot of children, okay? Some of you guys are even doing this where like you go to lunch and you still don't take it off. You just like pull it and eat, pull it and eat. That draws attention to you. And I hate that for some of you, this might make you feel bad, like in your tummy, but that's actually the feeling that you're avoiding, and you're gonna have to contend with that feeling because you're kind of making it worse. And like the more time that you keep your mask on and you're kind of fighting yourself, like I want to take it off but this, or I need to take it off but this, or whatever, or I'm the last, I don't know what you guys say in your head, you're gonna make that feeling in your body bigger and worse. It's gonna be a little bit harder for you to contend with. So I'm not just here to tell you guys, that sucks for you. I'm here to help you with some tricks and tips. Like I use the phrase mind tricks. Grown-ups probably use like mindset. But you know, kids on YouTube, you guys say hacks. So the tricks I'm gonna give you are these, okay? The thing about your mask, when you don't wanna take it off, it's very similar to when you get a haircut and you don't like it, and it's like your first day back at school and you're like, oh my God, everybody's gonna see my haircut. Like as a teacher, I experienced this so much, and like, not to hurt anybody's feelings, but sometimes I don't even notice the difference. And the kid is like, I'm gonna die, I can't take my hood off because everybody, but nobody notices but you. So it's that same feeling of like when you've gotten a new haircut that you don't like, but really you're just not used to it yet. So the way you can combat this, I have some tricks for you guys. Well, one of them is watch my video called Major Problems, where you think your problems are major, but really they're kind of small. But in this video, the tips I'm gonna give you for your masks are these. Okay, so you wanna probably wait for a time where you have like a 3-day weekend, which in school we have a lot of 3-day weekends, but as I'm filming this, Thanksgiving is coming up. Thanksgiving break would be a perfect time for you to start practicing this, because you are going to have to practice taking your mask off, because it is gonna feel maybe, or some of you are gonna have to practice taking your masks off. Ooh, my naughty dog. And some of you guys some of you guys might be able to do it just in one day or overnight or whatever, but if you need to practice, this is how practice goes, okay? So you can take a 3-day break, or I can only shoot these videos in one take because I get too like in my head. So y'all are gonna have to deal with Naughty Dog. Me too. Let me see if I know how to pause this video, which I probably don't. No, let me keep going. Okay, so this is how you practice. You're gonna take a 3-day weekend or Thanksgiving break, right? And you're gonna use that time in your imagination, which, like, I think I've already mentioned, I'm gonna talk about imagination a lot. And you're gonna practice being in class or like being in each period in your imagination for just a little bit of time with your mask off, right? Because it's not real. It's gonna feel real in your body. And you're gonna have to remind yourself, I'm just in my imagination. I'm just practicing for when I really have to do it in class. So in your imagination, you're going to imagine your class, or you can imagine each class period and really think about it, right? Like, my own therapist calls this taking it to court, but you can see it in different ways. Like, you can see it as like logical. Like, really, are people really worried about my mustache or my teeth or whatever? In your imagination, think about your classmates. Are they really going to worry about that? They're not. If they want to pass that class, they're not going to be hyper-focused the way that you think they will be on it. They probably won't even notice because, secret alert, they have their own unmasked thing that they're obsessing with. So they're not worried about yours. They're not thinking about your teeth or your nose or whatever it is that you feel like you kind of want to hide. Your classmates aren't thinking about it. I promise you. They can't, like, the human brain can't. And you can even test this theory, right? By trying to remember the last time that you did that for like a full class period, just like 100% fully thought about something that one of your classmates has or did or whatever. You haven't, you don't. So they don't do it to you. So again, so you'll use Thanksgiving break to practice like feeling that, oh God, feeling of death, like everybody's gonna see me without my mask, and then talking yourself out of it. And before I get to that one, actually, let me talk about what I just said a little bit about your imagination, because I do want to explain the science behind that just a little bit, like in kid ways. And the science behind that is you can think of like elite athletes, they call it visualization, people who are very like meditative, I guess, or mindful. I consider myself that. We would consider that also visualization, doing that practice. So it's not like just something crazy, this crazy lady. It is an actual practice that you can find in like the science of sports psychology, and also in like spiritual practices where you're doing a meditative practice that you're just in your imagination. Another way that you can contend with that feeling of like when you get a new haircut or you're taking your mask off for the first time is you're gonna tap into a certain muscle, okay? And so I'll explain it like this. I work with kids and I see you guys in 8,000 degrees and you have hoodies on. You also do the converse where it's cold outside and you're in shorts, or you refuse to put on a jacket that you feel is puffy. There's a muscle in your brain that lets you keep a game face, even though you're like sizzling under your hoodie or your like calves are like spasming from the cold. There's a muscle in your brain that like keeps your game face and you don't give in to the discomfort of your body. You're gonna tap into that muscle, right? And you're gonna be like, I can do it. I feel like I'm gonna die without my freaking mask on, but the truth is you're more likely to die with that hoodie on outside, and you don't. So you're not gonna die without your mask. Another trick you can do is maybe find a buddy. I do feel a little nervous about this one because I don't know who you guys are friends with, and sometimes friends aren't that, considerate, I guess. So you can also find a buddy where you know that that's like your check-in, and so maybe they have the same thing, like they want to also take their mask off and they're feeling too shy or vulnerable. And so you guys can check in with each other during the day, like in passing periods. And you don't have to do anything like major, like give this like speech or like super pep talk. You can even do it in secret, just like give them a wink or a thumbs up, like, okay, it's okay. And it'll remind you guys you're not dying from taking your mask off. And I do wonder if like some adults watching this video or people who haven't experienced children in the public school setting post-pandemic might think like that I'm being kind of exaggerative. And I wish I was, because it does make me a little bit sad, because I recognize that there is a gap, because parents probably like feel it too tender, and maybe your child is like, what do you know, mom? You don't have to wear masks. So there's kind of like a disconnect. And then teachers as well probably see it and might want to say something, but don't necessarily feel like it's their place, or they might be too nervous to overstep those boundaries. So in that miscommunication, there's a gap, and nobody's really telling these kids like how to take their mask off. They know that they, like, even if they know that they can, they're finding it difficult to show themselves again. And again, I was a teacher before the pandemic, during the pandemic, post-pandemic, and I see it, I feel it, and I also recognize that people aren't talking about it. So I really do want to help. I'm looking at my notes to see if I have anything that else I wanted to add. I know what. Okay, so you will tap into that muscle, that same muscle that keeps your game face when you're like overly hot in your hoodie. Keep your game face. You're not dying, right? You're not dying. It's hot, but I'm not dying. And then another way that you can maybe feel less of that like I'm gonna die feeling is by focusing on something else, which is the same as when you're wearing a hoodie on the playground, because you're focused on playing. So try to move your focus and refocus on something else that's not your feelings about being unmasked. And then eventually, and some of you might already have enough of a steady esteem to do this already, but eventually that muscle will move from like focus to ownership. Like you're gonna be like, okay, well, this is me without a mask and I'm owning it. I'm owning it, right? But it does take some work and it takes time. Grown-ups, they like calling this the work. But this video is pretty long, so I hope you've hung in there so you can hear me say thank you once again. Please like, share, subscribe, and watch a lot of my videos, things like this. And okay, that's it. Love you guys so much. Thank you.